Hello. Let's solve this square root equation. Now, this square root equation has two radical terms, right? Two terms with radicals, but then it has some extra numbers that will not end up being a zero. So that's going to be bringing a little bit of more complication. But nevertheless, we can solve it. What we need to do is move all the numbers to one side and then move one of the roots with them while we keep the other root on the other side. So the goal is to get one root on each side, and then the numbers that are still there, let's put them with the root with the root term that looks simpler. And this one kind of looks simpler. So we will put this root with the number that we get. So what is the number that we get? Well, when we move 3 over, then we'll end up with 2 here equals, and then we have these roots still here, right? Okay. So this one looks kind of a bit simpler. So let's move that one over. So if we move it, then we have 3x plus 1 equal to square root of x plus 1 plus 2. Or you could say 2 plus square root of x plus 1, either way. Now that we separated the roots, in the root terms, then what we can do is square both sides, because that's going to help us simplify at least one of the roots. So if we square it like that, then this square is going to remove the root completely. So this is 3x plus 1. But here, this square will not remove the root because the root is not by itself. There is a plus 2 here. So instead of canceling the root, this is what is going to happen. The square means that there are two of these multiplying each other. So we have square root of x plus 1 plus 2, and then we have another one of those, x plus 1 plus 2, multiplying each other. So that means we will have to distribute them, right? So square root of x means square root of x plus 1 times square root of x plus 1 will just give us x plus 1 because the roots will multiply and get squared and then cancel. Then square root of x plus 1 times 2 is just 2 of them, so 2 square root of x plus 1. So we are done with this. Now we go here. 2 times square root of x plus 1 is another 2 square root of x plus 1. And then finally 2 times 2 is 4, so plus 4. Now what we need to do, try to simplify this right hand side. So the x doesn't really combine with anything, so we'll just copy it down. But 1 and 4 will add to make 5. And then these two terms will add together, so we will have 4 square root of x plus 1. Now we have an equation with only one square root, because we managed to eliminate one. So now what we need to do is again get the square root term by itself, move everything else over, and then once we square both sides, the root is going to be gone. So let's take away x. Let's take away 5. We are moving it to the other side. So these will be gone. 3x minus x is 2x. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And then here we have 4 square root of x plus 1. Now to get the root completely by itself, we should divide by 4. But if we divide by 4, we'll get a fraction, and I'm thinking some of you might not be really comfortable with that, so this should be good enough. So just square it. and then whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other. So if we square this side, left-hand side, then again we have two terms, so that becomes 2x minus 4, right? And that multiplies itself, so another 2x minus 4 right there. And then what happens on the right-hand side is that each factor gets the square. So 4 gets squared, and then square root of x plus 1 also gets squared. So now we need to distribute the left-hand side and then simplify. So we have 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. This one, right? And then 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. And then negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x again. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And then on the right-hand side, 4 squared is 16 times, and then 2 cancels the root. But since 4 was multiplying the root and everything under the root, we need to make sure that what's under the root is still multiplied, which means x plus 1 needs to go inside parentheses. Now left-hand side simplifies to some extent, so let's do that. So 4x squared, these two would add together, so that's minus 16x, and then we still have the plus 16. Now distribute here. So 16 times x is 16x, and then 16 times 1 is 16. Now, since this is a quadratic problem, now we need to move everything to the to one side equal to 0, and then try to solve it that way. So we take 16x from here to the other side. 16x, right? And then we take 16 also away, so minus 16. And then what happens is this 4x squared still stays. Negative 16x minus 16x is negative 32x. And then 16 minus 16 goes away completely, so we just have equals. And the right hand side, everything goes away, so we have 0. Okay, now you could use a quadratic formula here to solve this, but this actually factors pretty nicely. So let's just factor. So 4x squared and negative 32x have 4 in common, mean 4x in common. So we take that out, and then we still have x minus 8 inside the two terms. And now we just equal each factor to 0. So equal each to 0, which means equal 4x to 0, and then equal this one to 0, so x minus 8 equal to 0. From here we get x equal to 0, and then from here we get x equal to 8. Now what we need to do is check, because these two numbers are actually solutions to this quadratic problem right here. So these two solutions are the solutions to this quadratic, but they might not be solutions to the original problem. So let's see which one, if any, actually work. So let's check with 0 first. So we take the 0 and we put it back into the original function wherever we have x. So 0 goes right here, 3 times 0 plus 1 minus square root of 0 again plus 1, and then we have plus 3, and we are checking if that's equal to the right hand side, which is 5 in our case. So 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, square root of 1 is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, square root of 1 is 1, so we have 1 minus 1, and then plus 3, is that equal to 5? Well, 1 minus 1 is 0, so we have 3 equal to 5, which is not true, which means this is not an answer. So x equals 0 is not an answer. Let's see if 8 works. So square root of, now instead of x we put 8, so 3 times 8 plus 1 minus square root of, instead of x we put 8 plus 1 again, and then plus 3, and we are checking if that's equal to 5. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25, so what we have here is square root of 25. 8 plus 1 is 9, square root of, so we have a square root of 9, and then plus 3, and then equal to 5. Square root of 25 is 5, square root of 9 is 3, plus 3, is that equal to 5? Well, 3 minus 3 will go away, so we really have 5 equal to 5. So this means that 8 is the answer. Okay, that's it. We found the solution. We have one solution for this problem. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and as always, don't forget to smile.